We're covering 5 things you may be overlooking that are causing your deaths. From ascending order simple to more complex. Coming in first is right hand peeking. We all know right hand peeking is the most advantageous way to fight. Not doing it could be causing your deaths, but relying on it too much can also be what kills you. Take this scenario for example. Your opponent is holding you and you duck behind cover. Because right hand peeking is so prevalent, your opponent's crosshair placement is going to be on the right hand side of the cover. If you right peek, even with peeker's advantage, unless you get a nasty pre-fire, you're the one losing 9 out of 10 times. So if you expect your opponent to place their crosshairs for your right hand peek, swing left instead. The time it takes for them to react and flick back to you makes peeking left here more advantageous. However, if left hand peeking is your only option, you have to avoid it as you're surprising nobody if left peek is the only direction you can go. Either switch to rat mode or run away instead. If you're getting pre-aimed on a left hand peek, there's zero chance you're winning that fight. Notice how much my player model shows here even though I don't even see my target yet? Which leads us to our next point. Angles relative to player model. You always have to pay attention to how fat your player model is so you don't overexpose yourself. A lot of newer players stick really close to their cover without knowing how much of their body they're exposing before the opponent is on their screen. If you have the space, back up as far as possible from your piece of cover to fight. The further you are from the angle, the less of your body you'll be exposing. But similar to left peeking, kissing your cover also has its uses. If you know exactly where your opponent is and you want to commit to a spray fight, then wide swinging from close to your cover is a decent option. Because the closer you are to your opponent, the faster your perceived movement speed is. You can use this as a tool to throw off their aim. Remember, distance matters. Similar how you wouldn't sprint out your cover if you're spaced far away, if your opponent is far away themselves, then they wouldn't need to swing their mouse very far. Essentially, the closer you are to them, the faster you are on their screen. The player that's further away from the angle during a fight is always at an advantage. Backing up is the optimal option, while swinging close is the surprise option. However, if you're gonna swing close, you can't swing slow. And what makes you slow? Weight. Many players, myself included, always forget to pay attention to weight. When overweight, you experience inertia more, and your max move speed is slower. And being slow makes you easier to aim at, causing you to die. Try to shed as much weight as possible before or even during a fight. The number one thing to do is to drop your bag. Since a month or so ago, not only do the weight from your items and backpack slow you down, the bags themselves have negative movement effects. Be sure to use your hotkeys so you can drop it fast without opening your menu, even if you have to rebind it for your control setup. Something else I like to do is to drop what's on my second sling if I don't think I'm going to use it. Weapon weight makes a huge difference unless you're 51 strength. If your armor is zeroed or near zero, toss it. It doesn't do anything for you but slow you down. On to our next point, audio. More specifically, the sounds your PMC makes. Many newer players don't know what sounds your opponents can or cannot hear. For example, if you're crouched and you slow turn, your client doesn't make any noise. However, other players can hear your PMC shift around. If you're sitting in a bush and it's a windy day, you wouldn't hear your own bush rustle. But other players can. Proning around also makes a lot of noise while being near silent on client side. Those are most of the misleading ones. There are probably more I'm forgetting, but mostly everything else like ADSing, eating, drinking, healing, bag dropping can be heard by both you and your opponent. So you should avoid doing these things if it'll give away your position, but there are ways to hide some of these sounds. For turning your camera while crouched, you can move your mouse around while crab walking. The crab walk is silent, so it makes your turning silent. ADSing can't be helped, but un-ADSing can be hidden with blind fire. Healing also can't be helped, but if you want to be as quiet as possible, run a Seiloa. Instead of a loud zipper noise like most of the other medkits, Seiloa has a shorter and less noticeable clip noise. You can actually use this to hide reloads and bag drops. Reloading from the menu while something else is being done with your hands skips the reload animation and the noise. The bag drop hotkey can always be done no matter what state you're in, so you can hide it with other noises. like healing, eating, or drinking. This is good because hearing a bag drop universally means your opponent is ready for a fight. If you hear someone creeping around and they think they're being silent, if they hear your bag drop, you're letting them know you heard them and you're ready for them. However, if you hide your bag drop noise with, let's say, eating or drinking, then they would be at ease, thinking they still have to drop on you when in reality you're preparing to deck them. All of these things together leads to our fifth point. Autopiloting is something you have to stop. Everything I've listed so far are things you probably already know about. But these are also the little things you forget about the most. Maybe you simply can't keep track of everything because Tarkov is so complex. But as you play more while bit by bit applying these things to your game, you'll notice your chances of winning a fight dramatically increase. Just be sure to think about your game plan while approaching a fight in order to avoid autopiloting and continuing the same mistakes. Now this last point may be a cop-out, so I'll drop you a sixth. As I was making this video, I came across this clip in one of my discords. Let's see what they did wrong. You see how their camera was bobbing up and down? They didn't pre-med. In their head, they think they're bad at PvP mechanically, but their aim and their movement was fine. The real issue is that they didn't pop a painkiller before or during the fight. Looking back, even though they weren't pre-medded, they actually managed to back up into cover and had ample time to take a painkiller or heal their bleed. But instead of doing that, the decision to limp out and fight was made. If you strafe without painkillers on a black leg, your screen bobs up and down and you move super slow. It doesn't matter who you are, you could be a top 1 percentile Willer Marquestily and you still would have lost that fight. Remember to take your painkillers. I usually spend the entire raid painkilled, but Nikita said he's trying to prevent that in the future, so just remember to painkill before a hot zone. Everything mentioned previously in this video goes out the window if you get caught with a black leg and no painkiller. I hope this video helped. Drop a like, sub with bell. I stream sometimes, currently rarely, but I'm working on a sort of movement video that's taking up a lot of my time. Check out the rest of my socials here and thanks for watching.
Hello? What the f was that?